People get a hold of me all the time to tell me about predators. People like Ted Bollinger. Anyway, let's get to the nature of this call, right? We can do that. We'll go to the recording and we'll press play. That ain't it. That's it.
Sean, this is a message from Samela at the Veterans Crisis Line. If you feel you need to talk, or if you find yourself in crisis, give us a call back at 988 pressing 1 for veteran, or you can call your local crisis line 211, or you can call 911 if you need further assistance. Thank you.
Our first abusers when we move to any town are usually cops. Anyway, they called me. I better call them back and explain to them that I was arrested for calling 911. And they're going to give me a whole fucking speech, I'm sure.
You've reached the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Para español, marque el número 2. To talk to the Veterans Crisis Line, press 1. To connect to support. Your call is now being transferred to the Veterans Crisis Line. Your call will be recorded. Your call may be monitored for quality assurance purposes. During the silent transfer, you may hear beeps. Please stay on the line as your call is transferred to the next available VCL responder.
The Military Crisis Line, this is Megan. How may I assist you?
I got the message on my phone here, from this number.
Okay, you got a message from us here at the Crisis Line.
Veterans Crisis Line. If you feel you need to talk, or if you find yourself in crisis, give us a call back at 988 pressing 1 for veteran, or you can call your local crisis line 211, or you can call 911 if you need further assistance. Thank you.
Hello?
Hello, I wanted to play that for you so you knew why I called. I was arrested yesterday for calling 911. I get bullied by cops. As a homeless person, the first people to usually victimize us in an area are police officers. For me, I'm in a desperate situation, so I'm often in need of assistance because I can't physically take care of myself. Also, an autistic person in crisis, one thing that a lot of us have in common, most of us have PTSD, but a lot of us, we can't hear one noise over the other. If I raise my voice, I apologize. It's not because I hate you or because you have done anything wrong. More than likely, it's because there's traffic going by.
Okay.
It makes it so that I can't hear you, and it usually makes it so that I increase my voice. Also, if I get talked over, I usually increase my voice as well. I was harmed by police here in Tillamook. This is a KKK town, similar to the town that I'm from in Nebraska. And they're scary places. I look too Jewish. And I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm a mutt. I can't call 911 about the abuse that I endure every single day. I record it every single day. If I'm not able to record it immediately, then I at least make sure that it's documented on my YouTube channel what happened. I at least say what
Oh,
happened.
okay.
The sheriff here, Ray Rao, was arrested a couple weeks ago. I tried telling on him and some of his other deputies for they were messing around with homeless women and drugs and a couple of homeless men as well. I was informed, but I I can't take care of myself physically. I can't set up appointments for myself because of like I said, I'll raise my voice if the vehicle goes by. Meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
I'm easy to tone bully, and a lot of times people get bored, and I'm really good at being able to read when a person gets bored or when they're uninterested. But I speak anyway because I have to get heard. And
Okay. So you said that you're unable to take care of yourself and the police are not helping. What about the hospitals there? Are they helpful?
I was at the hospital on January 28th of this year. It's one of the assaults that I was trying to turn in. I was trying to turn in a couple of stalkers and a couple of police who were stalkers. So it made it difficult. I went to mandated reporters. I always do. They talked over me. They always do. At the hospital, I was assaulted by a guy named Stephan L. Stephanides, and to this day, nothing has been done about that. I speak up about how the police treat the homeless. I was at the hospital last night after they released me from jail. I was arrested for calling 911 as instructed. Whenever an agency tells me to call another agency, I call that agency, with the exception of the FBI because they have me completely blackballed.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You can't really call the FBI as a disabled adult. They're just gonna blow you off. They don't care. So in the Nebraska Attorney General's office, and later on when I had to move here to Oregon, they told me to get a hold of the FBI. The FBI doesn't listen to me. Why are government agencies telling me to call the FBI about police abuse? Meanwhile, everybody else tells me to go back to the police officers who harmed me by spreading rumors and slander. And now I have to be afraid everywhere that I go because my friend Natalie got her brains blown out in Colorado 7 years ago. This is how long I've been bullied from one town to another.
Mm-hmm.
Now in this town alone, I've been here for a whole year. I had a stalker who followed me here from Hood River. I've had multiple people get a hold of me because I do have a YouTube channel where I speak up about missing people and about human rights. The problem is a lot of those people have PTSD just like me, and they can't function just like me. But I speak well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I speak well, people tend to ignore the fact that I do have disabilities, and I'm scared shitless. I also...
Now, do you have like a social worker or somebody that you do trust that you can talk to?
I don't. I've been trying to find someone that I can trust, and I usually try to test whether or not I can trust them by telling you about the most recent crimes committed against me and see if they help me to turn it in properly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And are you a veteran?
I am not, and I told the first lady who left a message that, as well as the second lady. But I've been having problems with the other two 988s because they get very short with me.
Oh, I see.
I'm easy to tone bully. I try to I try to act Papa Bear when people are threatening my family and friends, but I ain't got meanness in me like that. I have to pretend.
Mhm. Okay.
Anyway,
So,
I've been harassed repeatedly by an officer named Lothman here, and I've been trying to turn him in since I got here because he was real nice about blowing me off, but he still blew me off, resulting in a woman named Molly being harmful to myself and the entire community for 6 weeks. It
oh
also
wow.
betrayed
Okay.
it also betrayed any kind of trust I could have had in those officers. The
Mhm.
officer that was with him was Trent Olson.
So last night when you were arrested, were you able to provide them with any of the information regarding these other officers?
They never let me. It was Lothman who arrested me, along with
Oh.
2 of the other officers. One of them being a sergeant named Harrell, and I'm trying to remember who the other one was at the moment. Ma'am, you know what I was doing at that point in time? There was somebody who
No.
was
What were
telling
you
me that he
doing?
was going to kill himself on my YouTube channel. He was typing it in the chat. So
Mhm.
he was claiming that he had an aunt here in Tillamook and that he was nearby. So I was trying to turn that in. I was also calling 911.
Oh. Okay.
I'm used to getting yelled at and screamed at, and people don't understand how scary it is. But if I do it, I'll get arrested, and that's guaranteed. I've tried to turn in the abuse that I endure to 911 and every other agency and been blown off like it's nothing major, like it's not a major problem, like I shouldn't be scared.
Mhm.
I am scared, and I'm scared for a reason. People have been threatening to kill my friends and family for like 7 years. I've been getting assaulted by law enforcement for trying to turn in crimes because at the very beginning, when they're supposed to do their job as a mandated reporter, they blow me off instead and treat me like I'm a homeless addict.
Okay.
They also try telling hospitals and courts that I've been diagnosed with schizophrenia. On my YouTube channel, there's a conversation with a woman named Marcia Estrada. She is licensed to diagnose schizophrenia. I've also seen her long enough that she could have diagnosed me with schizophrenia because it takes 6 months. I have a letter in my pocket written by her that states outright that I'm not schizophrenic, that I have PTSD. I
Okay.
can't function because of PTSD. She also clearly states that I'm not delusional. I'm not psychotic. I'm
Mhm.
scared, ma'am. I'm
Okay.
petrified of law enforcement here, and I've had law enforcement do this before. It's a pretty standard tactic when you try to turn them in. Either they arrest you on bogus
Okay.
charges, or they take you to a mental hospital if they're able to twist your words into you trying to commit suicide.
Mhm.
And then, of course, they tell me to go to 988, and I tried 988, the regular one, and I was bullied. That's not okay. As soon as they heard the part about police, I started getting instead of them listening, talking over me. And I know most of y'all are information lines, but I have no family to protect me from this. Disabled people and
Okay.
homeless people are the most likely people. Sorry, disabled, the homeless, and men are the most likely people to be killed by police. We're the most likely people to be victimized by police. We're the most likely victims of systemic abuse. And that's because it's so easy to talk over us. It's just assumed that all men are
Okay.
violent or that all homeless people are quote unquote mentally ill. But that's a hurtful word
Mhm.
because
Right.
underlies that word with each people having their own meaning depending on whether they're angry or not. For some people, it's, hey, that person's mentally ill, don't listen to them. And for some people, it's, hey, why would you hurt that person? They're mentally ill. I'm autistic. I have to worry about stimming in public. I've got recordings of me stimming in public. If I do that in front of an officer or a mental health worker, I get bullied because they don't understand autism. They don't try. They're familiar with the book
that
version.
happens in front of the mental health workers as well?
Yes, ma'am, I have it recorded. But the thing is that they're all supposed to be crisis trained counselors. They're also trained to be mandated reporters. And as soon as they find out I'm trying to turn them in because they didn't do their jobs as mandated reporters, they get pretty irate. There's also the point in which they go from listening to me intently almost to bullying me, and that's usually about the point that they find out that I'm homeless or that I was called mentally ill or that police officers assaulted me and I tried to turn them in.
I see. Okay.
I do want to state that I was
tell
not...
me your name. What is your name, sir?
My name is Sean Schwartz.
Okay, Sean, my name is Megan. Now, my concern is, do you have the information about 211? Because I really want to be able to find someone locally.
Ma'am, the problem with locally is that they... Ma'am, the problem with locally, and I explain this in literally every single call. All of the agencies that I went to here, it's a KKK town, and they're not happy that I recorded anything. They don't treat me very well.
Oh, okay.
All the people...
And that's with any agency that you go to?
Yes, ma'am. And I know that sounds crazy. That's why I record everything. But then when I try to play the recordings, people tell me they can't listen to it, or I have to turn it off and let's just talk. And that's not what I went to any of these people for. I went to them because they're supposed to be mandated reporters. The problem is none of these places I went to first that I'm supposed to go to. I went through the proper chain of command. I was bullied all the way back down the chain of command. Now, Ray Rao, you can look his name up. He's in a lot of deep doo-doo for committing crimes with the drugs and money in the evidence locker, and he's been on the news for it. I don't tell bullshit stories. I just have difficulties speaking. I have difficulties with people allowing me to. And the more they get angry or gruff with me, the more afraid I am to speak, and the more generalized it is because the faster I have to speak. The more I try to fit into 10 seconds as possible. A lot of people, I'll count it in my head, and I have to basically calculate the average of how long they're willing to listen before they start talking over me and telling me what to do, trying to give advice.
Okay.
The problem with advice is that everybody's got advice, but if they don't know the situation, what good's their advice? If you've got to build a bridge over a creek, you got to know something about the creek instead of just telling somebody, oh, well, put a slab of cement down, you know? You have to know something about the situation before you can bridge the gap. I'm petrified of the police here. They're running around telling people that I murdered somebody, that I wanted to murder or that I was arrested for murdering somebody. That guy from Hood River tried making the same claim. Officers have told people that I do drugs with people in my vehicle. I don't do drugs. They've told hospitals that I do drugs. I don't do drugs. I'm not going to pretend that I've never smoked pot or that I haven't smoked it at some point while being homeless here. But the thing is, I'm homeless out here with a bunch of drug addicts. The drug addiction problem here is rampant. It's huge. And a lot of the services are given extra money if they pick up clients that are on drugs. So for me, it's difficult because everything around here is basically set up for drug addicts. It's also expensive. I have to live off of my disability money, $800 a month. If I'm not able to record a situation, I can't afford to get the body camera evidence because I'm too afraid to go into the courthouse alone. I'm too afraid to go
I
to a place
see.
that I can't record because people can say whatever they want and make it their word versus mine. They can also antagonize me and pretend like after they
Mm-hmm.
bullied me that I'm some sort of a bad guy for having a reaction to that. I can't just
Okay.
move because I've spent all of my money going to all the services and trying to get help here getting those services, trying to jump through their hoops. Now I don't have money to live on
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of the month, and bullying me into moving somewhere else doesn't help the situation. I'll be harmed
And
wherever I
who's
go.
bullying you to move?
Pretty much everybody at this point. That's the thing about
Oh,
being made popular on the internet. That's something that
okay.
you would have to look up to understand. If you look up the name Natalie Bollinger and you listen to the story of Sean Schwartz on there, Sean Schwartz the evil, Sean Schwartz the predator, Sean Schwartz the horrible monster, then you look at her autopsy report. You realize she was the one that was on drugs. You also realize that Joseph Michael Lopez is the one that killed her, but none of these places bother to mention any of that. People threaten to kill my friends and
Okay.
family often, and they get a hold of me and bully me because people threaten to kill them.
I see. Okay. And you said that nobody is able to provide any support there, and you have no funds to move right now. Now, when will you get your monthly funds again?
I might not get it next month. They have to have something in by September 30th, and I can't do the paperwork myself. And I'm too afraid to go to any of these agencies for help with that because they haven't done their jobs as mandated reporters, and I'm afraid of them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'm 42 years old. I can't take care of myself. I am disabled, and they're ignoring that. And then there's the question of, do I want to kill myself or others? Of course not.
Okay. So you're not having suicidal thoughts?
Ma'am, there's literally never a moment of any day that I'm not thinking about killing myself, but I don't actually try it until I am bullied into doing so.
Okay. And so people have actually
Literally bullied
bullied
me into
you
attempting suicide even. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I didn't hear your question. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was asking you if there were people actually bullying you into trying to commit suicide, and you said there are people that are actually trying to do that.
Yes, ma'am. There are a lot of them, and I can't turn that in or I get bullied by police officers and mental health places. That's one of the problems with trying to turn in Waylon Lolotai in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
They got to assault me and try to frame me for Natalie Bollinger's murder. A lot of different jurisdictions worked together to do that, and also because of how profile it ended up being, the FBI was involved like within almost a month. I was trying to contact the FBI. I was working together with two of Natalie's ex-stepmothers. It turned out they were just gaslighting me and their friend, Kara Johnson Miles, who claimed to be an autism advocate. It turned out that she was just some web sleuth that was trying to paint me as some horrible monster in a lot of Natalie Bollinger groups. It was an attention thing. It became a popular thing to fuck with my head, ma'am.
Okay.
So I still speak up on YouTube every day. I still show evidence.
YouTube still.
I have to for my safety. I never wanted to make it. I just wanted to be able to go see my friends and family without being harmed.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That was in 2016 and 2017. I'm sorry about my squeaky voice. I was taken to jail for calling 911. So when people say call 911, or if it's an emergency, call 911, I have to be afraid. If I relocate just to a couple of blocks away where I'm reasonably safe from my predators, And then I call 911. I'm told, well, you should have called 911 right away. Click. Or I get a whole runaround about what I should have done instead. Ma'am, I can't take care of myself. I am not a functional human being anymore. I don't know a better way to explain that.
Would you like me to reach out to law enforcement to have them come out and provide you with assistance?
Ma'am, what I'm trying to explain to you is that that's not what they're going to do.
Okay, even if we reach out to them.
Ma'am, they've committed felonies at this point. They're not going to listen to anybody, not even the Almighty God.
Okay.
My YouTube channel, there's a bunch of videos that are recordings with witnesses of situations. There's a lot of recordings of the actual situations. There's also screenshots on the front of every single video now. I was able to learn how to do some of that electronic stuff. I'm not very good at electronic stuff. People think that because I'm autistic, I must be Rain Man, and I'm not good with computer stuff. My predators know this, they prey on it, but everybody else treats me like it must be bullshit. When they realize it's true, then it's easy to exploit, even for officers who screwed up. When I'm sent back to agencies that I've already been to and have bullied me, and I've recorded them bullying me. Do you know how scary that is?
I can't even imagine.
Obviously, I'm not trying to harm myself or others. I'm trying to get heard. I'm trying to get people to stop harming me and others. I'm trying to get this stuff regulated and checked. If we can't do our jobs to protect disabled homeless people, I mean, really, what's anyone else going to have any right to complain about that they got it bad? I was in assisted living before Natalie was killed. I couldn't afford to go to assisted living as well as pay rent at the drug dealer's house that I was staying in Colorado. The only reason I was staying at a drug dealer's house is because it was the only place that in Colorado along the front range that somebody I knew had a house. And it was a very abusive household. I got abused. A 14-year-old boy named Gabriel got abused. He's an adult now, but they knew exactly how to take advantage of an autistic person. He was autistic too. We both have what's called Asperger's, so we have higher than normal intelligence. We also have difficulties because people talk over us. People who are intelligent are talked over like they're dummies. People love to play head games about that. It's become a cultural thing in America now to be a sarcastic asshole. Anyway, I have no way to get somewhere safe, and law enforcement are my predators, so you see how the issue comes about there? It's not just law enforcement, it's also people that they lie to who take it out on me. I'm never allowed to show evidence. I'm never allowed a safe place to make a police report. I'm told to go to the library. Nearly all the calls that I need to make are professional calls. They need to be made in privacy. I can't even afford to travel on $800 a month if I'm forced to travel every time that somebody harasses me or threatens to kill me because they saw something on the internet. I would literally never stop driving. The reason I have to take a stand somewhere is because I've got so many predators nationwide. Natalie Bollinger's case became pretty popular.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, it became so popular that it's still very popular. They tell Natalie's story in 17 different languages that I am aware of. People get a hold of me from countries all over the world to tell me that they support me, but they never speak up with me. A lot of them, they say, dude, yeah, I saw that, man. That was messed up. Like, is that legal in the United States? And I say, no, but nobody here is going to help me turn it in. you go back and listen to my recordings, you can hear literally hundreds of people that I went to for help that I knew as friends that wanted to tell me how afraid they were of the police, how they were too afraid to turn anything in.
Mhm.
I don't want my YouTube public, but I also can't destroy it. It's got evidence of child molesters and rapists and murderers. People outright literally admitting to their crimes. Just because they wanted to assume that I was kidding when I told them I record everything.
Okay. Okay.
I don't.
And so, how for tonight? You said you're in your car right now. You do not. Do you feel safe in your car right now at this moment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And so,
I could play
what
some
is your
recordings for
plan?
you. I've tried to play those recordings for some of the other people's places and lines that I'm sent to. They're supposed to help at-risk adults. But then as soon as I start playing, they want me to shut it down. I was...
Because I'm not able to listen to the recording, but
Well,
we can contact police if necessary
the
for
problem
you.
is, like I said, police are my predators in this town.
Right.
I have
Yeah.
recordings of it.
And so that's our only option for providing protection for somebody.
Well, when crimes are committed by law enforcement, we're supposed to be able to turn it in.
Mhm.
Anyway, I called you back is what I was doing. I wasn't trying to be a jerk. I wanted to tell you that 211 and 911 are not viable options.
Okay.
I do like a lot of the people at 211. Many of them do come across as very caring in the beginning, but then they get bored with my story.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you don't feel like any of them you can trust?
It's the fact that every time that I bring up the fact that police harmed me when I tried to turn in the crimes against me by others, these people wanted to dictate what I could and could not tell them from there on in through the rest of the quote-unquote conversation. It never should have been a conversation. I went to them because they're supposed to be mandated reporters. Anyway, I'm so tired right now that the words rolling out of my mouth are probably barely comprehensible.
Okay, so you're going to try to get some rest?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Be safe, okay?
Okay. All right, you as well.
Yes, ma'am.
And please give us a call back if you need to, Sean, okay?
Well, the thing is, you just have to remember I can't call 911. If I call 911, I will be arrested.
Right, I understand.
I'm sorry for wasting your time too, if that's what this ends up being. Good
Well, it's
night.
not a waste of my time. You have a good night. Bye-bye.
Lighthouse Society typed, Happy Easter. Happy Easter. No, sorry. Happy Saturday. I just did a word association thing there, which I'm stressed. I'm scared. If it was just fear for me, that's not a problem. But I'm put in a position where people want to use their friends and family as excuses for not coming forward, which puts my friends and family at risk. I love all of them, and I miss all of them. And I'm sorry everything happened this way. what made Natalie Bollinger such a wonderful, wonderful person to me right from the fucking start? I don't mean right when I met her. She was selling drugs for her dad when I met her, and I was trying to get her to get the fuck out of there. Stop messing around with fucking creepy ass goddamn heroin addicts. I told those girls, those people that take advantage of them. I told all them kids that. I told them they couldn't hang out with me. I told them, if you're not 18, you're 12. If you ask any of these boys and girls that I helped to raise, you can ask them Schwartz's rules. Some of them are likely to remember them to this day. If you say, Schwartz's rules, if you're not 18, you are, and what's the proper answer? 12. And I don't hang out with fucking 12-year-olds. Although I usually don't use the F word, I just had to introduce that heavily into my vernacular in the last 7 years. When I tried telling people nicely what the problem was and they didn't understand the English fucking language, I decided I need to put some goddamn emphasis on the motherfucking words coming out of my... Well, you see where I'm going with that? Whether I say I was assaulted by a meanie or some dumbass fucking decided to put his stupid fist into the middle of my stupid forehead and broke his stupid fist. Now he's fucking whining and we need an ambulance. Sorry, I couldn't help it. As long as I'm making up an imaginary scenario, just because there's situations that have happened that I'm too scared to speak about publicly. And that, given the subject matter on this channel, I think you should understand my fears. Also, I called them back to let them know that 911 and 288, wait, fuck, I got it written down somewhere, 211. They're not helpful either. They can't do nothing, they can't do nothing, they can't do nothing. Alright, my legs are starting to shake. I've got my hoodie now. I gave my jacket away that I had down here to a lady the other night at the corner market. And then, I don't have the money to go up the mountains anymore or to go to the hospital in Salem anymore. I'm nodding out. I'll post another one tomorrow about a woman human trafficked